double major.
Minor,
Yeah.
social work?
Right.
Yeah.
You could double too, because like a lot of the classes will count and they'll be like, because the key is if you get that major in social work at a CSWE accredited college, which we are, it's Council on Social Work Education, you then qualify for the 1-year master's. So if you get a BSW, and if you're not graduating until next year, is it 2022 or are you 2021?
2022.
Okay, so you still have like 60 hours left to work with, like 60 credit hours. You just talk with Dr. Allen. You don't have to drop the psych major. You just add in. I ended up double majoring because I found out my senior year I wanted to do something else. And,
Your senior year?
yeah,
Okay.
I did a double major my senior year. I took an extra semester, but yes, it was my senior year, which was crazy. So, if you do that, it does allow you to take the 1-year advanced standing MSW. Around here we have Miami University, University of Cincinnati, and Northern Kentucky University. Are you from a city around here?
Detroit.
Detroit, they have a lot of good social work schools too.
Oh.
Michigan has tons. They have the best social work schools in the nation.
Oh, wow.
So it gives you options. That's all. I was a psychology major. I loved it, but then I realized I had to get my MSW and I had to take 65 hours in graduate school. But if I had a bachelor's, I would have only had to take 35 hours in graduate school.
Oh, wow.
It would have saved me like $20,000 and 2 years of my life.
Right.
So it happens. Yeah, I do talk to a lot of people about it because of my experience. I wish somebody had told me about it before it was too late. Because I got that psych degree and then everyone said, okay, now you got to go on and get your doctorate. It's like, really? Great. Do you have any questions about the assignments and stuff that we're doing?
No.
Okay. They at least make sense to you. The newest one is that presentation that I described on YouTube Live Friday. And I can go over that again today if you want me to.
Yes.
Okay. Because they're all papers except for, it's called the field observation. And they had us do it at the University of Kentucky for social work. And in the field observation, let me see if I can open that for you.
In the presentation, we have to do it in front of class?
Either in class or if you're able to like film it and put it into the discussion board, that would be a possibility too. So you don't have to do it live. I think it's easier just to come up, set your PowerPoint up here, and then talk about what you observed. That's what everybody did last year. That's how you had to do it. But now with COVID, I guess we got more options of how to do it. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, here it is. So it's sometime during the semester, put yourself in a setting where you're a racial or cultural minority in a situation where you're not familiar with. So most of us, you can do it up here in Xenia. If you're not from Xenia, it's like a country area that you're not familiar with. And some people just go to Big Boy or Frisch's and just eat and then write down their observations while you're eating. Or Walmart or a Kroger's, and then it says, prior to participating, identify common stereotypes and myths associated with this population. So I actually am having you guys do a PowerPoint instead of the 3 to 4 page paper with it. So I'm going to delete number 3. Because the PowerPoint is just easier, honestly. I mean, you can write a paper if you really want to, but most people are happy that we delete this part here. I'll just do 3, create PowerPoint. People like that better than a paper.
Yeah.
So write about prior identified common stereotypes, prejudices, and myths associated with this population. Maybe up here it's like country and cornfields, and they might just be more slow in life or country in life. What were your feelings and reactions? What was your comfort level? Some people even went to the courthouse in Xenia and like other places like that. So it's up to you where you want to go. If you just want to go to Frisch's and order their veggie burger, which is pretty good and healthy, that's what I do. What was your comfort level? Do you feel that others are staring at you? Did you feel that you were looked upon as different or accepting? So you don't have to engage with anybody. You're just writing down your observations. It's like you're doing your homework there. And the idea is, so I had to do this at University of Kentucky, and it was the same thing. It was like a country area, and I grew up in Cincinnati, inner city, and like it's totally different. So the idea is we're going to have all kinds of different clients come to us for our psychology or social work services or counseling services. We just get used to how we feel when like people of different races, religions, and creeds come to see us, and just that way we know how we're going to react. It says, did you observe a different communication style? What did you learn? You could just answer all these questions on the PowerPoint. What did you learn that surprised you? And then describe how your perspectives and experiences differ and how they are alike. And that might be like in between other people in the classroom in the discussion. How do you make sense of the similarities and differences? Do you feel as if you knew more about this population or the cultural experiences before the field observation, so like right now, and then reflect upon what you now wish you had experienced but did not? That's an interesting one. So this helps us keep our CSWE accreditation. All social work schools do this assignment where you go somewhere that is not familiar to you and you just like observe, and that's kind of the breakdown.
Is it a certain amount of slides?
Most people did it in between 5 and 7 slides, just answering those questions,
Okay.
and that should be good. Because you should be able to turn it in there, and then if we do it electronically, I'll put up a discussion board so you guys can put it in there and see each other's. Or you could do it live on YouTube Live and have it filmed, so it's totally up to you. Whatever is easier for you. And that is the first one that's not a paper. So if we go back to these, there's all these assignments. We're getting towards the end, which is crazy because next month we finish in-person classes.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
I feel like we just started.
I know, it's only October and November that we're doing them, it feels like. So you're right. But we're also, I still kept you guys on task as if we started in August. And so we've already done like this one's next, and then we'll have the diversity paper. So the others are more like discussions and attendance. And then the social worker as learners, I make that your final exam. It's actually a self-assessment paper. So it's electronic in December when we're all on our last week electronically. So yeah, we're cruising through, luckily. And we're already on chapter 8. So you guys can download all of these PowerPoints inside of Schoology. Like that way, it's kind of like the cliff notes of the book. We did 7 on Friday, and that was like the diversity PowerPoint and cutting into diversity. Were you able to watch that one? I know I put it up on YouTube Live. It's okay if you haven't yet.
No.
Okay. I only asked because I put up like a PowerPoint, or I'm sorry, a YouTube that was kind of a big deal, but for Story of Our Elders. Let's see if I find it. So in Cincinnati, I work with a refugee population that came to St. Leo's Parish and St. Leo's Food Pantry. and they're from Burundi, and learning how, again, it's kind of in line with diversity and social work practice. And it's just a quick 8-minute video, so I'll cruise on this if that's okay with you. We filmed all of this in Cincinnati, right off exit number 3 on I-75. So I think you drive that to Detroit. It's like 200 exits. And so this is exit number 3, which is like inner city Cincinnati. It doesn't look like it. It's kind of, I bet it'll play better in Chrome. No? Maybe it will play. Okay. So it's right off I-75. They asked for a garden and stuff to grow their own food, so kind of worked with them. And their kids made this video. It's kind of cool. Like their teenage son made this video for them. So. And they sell this produce at Philly Market. And those are like Kroger bags that they make into big bags.
Hi everyone, my name is Charlotte, and today I'm going to talk about videos that you'll be watching in a few minutes. First, let me tell you about the Burundians and their early life. I don't really know that much about them, but I'll share what I know, and I hope that you learn more as you watch these videos. Burundi, it's a small country that located in East Africa, which is the first country in Africa, also in the world. In 1972, a war happened between two earthquakes, which caused almost everyone to move from the country. Lots of families separated during the war. Some of the families are here in the United States, and some of them are still back in Africa. Others are around the world. At this moment, you're going to watch the videos, and I hope you enjoy them just as I will read them for you.
twarasimba nk'igihe hageze mu ci aho rero bageze rero baruhutse bara twarasimba nk'indutse twarakina sana twarakina agapira twarabanga imipira isanzwe canke hariho ibindi twimba ku musozi ibintu bita imigano twarabyimba tukabisekura tukabimba umupira ugakubita gutyo ugadundika nivyo twagira nivyo twakina imipira hari ibindi biti minyango nivyo twarabizingazinga tukabivanga mu mipira aho nivyo twatera twagize gukina nivyo twakina nayo imipira nk'iyindi yari safi arakinira mu ibarabara aho bagize nko mu giharoharo igihe cyo muci cane cane ivumbi rigatumuka abana twakunda akantu k'akavumbi ugasanga ni byiza kabisa
muri 1964 umva rero narongora mu kwa gatatu itariki zitatu tubana n'umugore muri icyo gihe twari twarabanye hageze mu kwezi kwa 10 n'abatizwa uyu mwaka nyine wa 1964 maze kubatizwa turi kumwe n'umugore turagenda igihanga turabatizwa misiyoni nkuru amaze kubatizwa bahise badusezeranye n'umugore 6 ubwo n'umwana ahita arabatizwa
imfungurwa baririmbira n'amaboko yacu
hanyuma barangura ko iwacu abantu bafise inka arareba kwirirwa inyuma y'inka nagakwiye mu mwaka wa 3 arangura ati mwana wanjye wewe ugume hano uzoragira inka nzokugurira imashini nzobarira nuko nakindemera umunsi washobora kwagura ababyeyi ngo ndakuraho murandagira inka hari mu kwezi kwa 4 hari ku munsi wa 6 mu ntara ya Rumonge yatanguye saa 6 y'izuba muri provinsi Bujumbura itangura isaha 4 z'ijoro kandi abayitanguye nabari ku butegetsi ubwo bwoko bwari buhari ariko muri ico gihe bwaradutse ivyo byazanywe n'umuperezida yari ahari yitwa Micombe abasoda batangura kwihereza ibisagara barondera agatumba bakarondera iki akantu kiki kubwoko ariko bagenda bica bidasangiye ubwoko kugira ngo bagumeho bonyine ati warubatse inzu ziboneka bavuga muri kabiri y'abantu bari amafaranga bayakuye kandi bakarungika aba bazi kureka kugenda mu kibaringo bariya no kugenda mukabica ngo bariya ngo nibo bariye intuze amafaranga y'igihugu bakaza bagafata urugo mbese bwari bw'ubwoko bakaza bakatera ku rugo bakabica
abatutsi bahiga abahutu bakabatera ibisito by'imigano bakabisogota abagore bakitinda.
Hello again. You just watched a short video of the Burundian community. As you saw, the war was a tragedy for the Burundian. The effect of the war still continues to this very day, as Burundi have the second highest number of refugees in the world. But there's more to the Burundian story besides the war. We try to show you that in the first part of the video. But there's so much more to discover about the Burundians. And I hope that you will take your time to learn more about us. Thank you.
So these are some of the teenagers that did the video. And they're still at St. Leo's Parish. You can do your internship in social work down here, as we have the pastoral counselor there does supervise and have folks work with either St. Leo's Food Pantry, the parish nurses, or the women's group that they have down there. That's actually my godson. So he goes to UC Blue. I don't know, maybe he's on UC main campus now. He said he got a cheerleading scholarship. So he's they all came here for safety after the civil war in Burundi. So they're permanent residents of the United States. That's the guy that helped them film it too. So it's kind of the church, you know, it was a really small church, and then 300 people came from Burundi and about 400 came from Chela, Guatemala. And now it's like hard to find a seat in the church because it's so full. So it's definitely grown. So that's finishing up with our diversity empowerment, diversity PowerPoint, and going into chapter 8, which is empowerment. And in a lot of cases, you'll see situations like that where some population is oppressed in some way, like their land was stolen from them, or there's a war in their country and they're able to come here for safety into the United States. And we, as social workers, we want to help with empowerment. So, and I'll get through these. We may not get through the whole PowerPoint today, but we'll finish it. So empowerment is building on traditional problem solving. Like if there's a war and there are people dying, we want to get them to a safe place and like relearn how to set up their community. We often incorporate empowering languages in what we do. As social workers, even as psychologists, you'll do that. Even as counselors, you'll shift the focus from being the expert to being more of a collaborative partnership. Like we would work with them in the field at St. Leo's and help sell the tomatoes at Finley Market with them. And then we apply kind of generic process to all the different systems, like getting the refugees connected with the parish nurses, getting them connected with housing authority in Cincinnati, getting them connected with healthcare. Here's some of the empowering things that you'll do and their definitions. So forming partnerships, articulating situations, defining directions. Identifying strengths is big because we always want to, again, empower somebody. When they come to us with a problem, we want to see what their strengths are and how they'll work through the problem instead of dwelling on the problem forever. It's like, okay, so let's use a strengths-based approach where what can you do to like empower yourself to get a job? We'll assess the resources that are available to them. Like it could be, again, the housing authority, or in the Gardens case, it was Civic Garden Center. If they were sick, our parish nurses. We frame the solution and different things they can do. Some of them have got jobs at Amazon is big in Cincinnati, so they started working there. Some worked at other locations. Then creating alliances, expanding opportunities, recognizing their success, and then integrating gains. So that's like the whole process of how, as a psychologist and social worker, you would empower your client to like rise above and do well in their situation. Some ways that we do this with them, the clients have rights to expect that we as professional psychologists, social workers, and counselors will show respect. We will communicate non-judgmentally. In counseling, they call it unconditional positive regard. We demonstrate cultural competence, which we kind of went over in the PowerPoint last class, chapter 7. We appraise the clients of options, so like find different opportunities and let them choose which route they would want to go. Like different jobs or different government programs that could help them. We uphold our professional code of ethics. So social work has one, I know psychology has one, the counselors have a code of ethics. We have to follow that in everything we do. We facilitate rather than direct processes. So we kind of help connect them with resources and not like tell them what to do. It's more we're asking, would you like to be involved in this process? Instead of saying, you have to go there and I know the answer to your situation. It's more that they actually are the experts on their situation. The clients will have rights to expect that the process will support collaborative partnerships, provide opportunities to tell their stories and from their point of view, and then involve them in determining goals and objectives. So even in psychology, you'll create a treatment plan that you write goals that they want to accomplish in the counseling process. And then action strategies, how to do that. And we evaluate the outcomes. Like if there's ways we can be a better social worker or psychologist, we give them a venue to tell us that. They also have the right to expect they'll be involved in program evaluation, research and planning, organization policy, and even staff education and training, like how to make us a better program and better psychologists and social workers. So that's like the long breakdown. Here's the next 14 slides cover those again, but engage in them. So we're forming a partnership. At St. Leo's, we had 300 refugees start showing up at church. And at first we're like, all right, what do we do here? And we went to Catholic Charities and found out that's who was sending the refugees. And the pastoral counselor at St. Leo's came to us in the social work program and counseling at University of Cincinnati and just asked what they could do with the folks. So we kind of assessed and went and met with the people at St. Leo's and asked them what they wanted. A lot of them said we would like a green space to grow food for ourselves, like our homegrown food that we were used to. And they also wanted to learn English as a second language. So that we started getting programs that would give them both of those opportunities. And you always want to acknowledge the client's privileges and their uniqueness. Every human individual is unique in their own way. Then in engagement, we would articulate situations, discuss the client's reasons for seeking assistance, validate the client's experiences, and then define directions of which way they would go. So here is the typical concerns at various systems levels. So on the individual and family level, sometimes they're worried about stress or victimization or their access to services. If they're coming from a group level here in the middle, sometimes they're worried about staff burnouts or employee relations or the program analysis. Then these last two, community standards, they may be worried about employment in general or social policy changes or even a conflict of interest. And then the last one here, social or professional concerns, your own professionalism, if you're being a professional psychologist and social worker, and even the needs of oppressed client populations. So we're always working on ways to make our service better to the client and ways that we serve them better. Sometimes you'll get a client that you can't deal with on your own, so you'll do a referral, you refer out. So it says your practitioners refer clients to other professionals and agencies when the service needs of the client system exceed the scope of the agency mission. So maybe they needed addictions counseling or alcoholism recovery, and we don't do that. So we refer them to a psychologist or social worker or counselor that specializes in alcoholism or addictions. Also, sometimes the clients require specialized services that go beyond the skill of the social worker, and the organizational restrictions and eligibility requirements limit the service access. So maybe their insurance doesn't pay for it, so we have to send them to a place that takes Medicare or Medicaid. So we would initiate that referral by discussing the need and the reasons with your client, like, yes, we do that service here, but we don't take your insurance. Here's a place that takes Medicare and Medicaid. We'll screen them for the best fit. We'll follow agency referral protocols, like still keeping everything confidential, making sure the referral gets done, and then arranging for follow-up to make sure that the client made it there. It seems like a lot of things that go on, but this will become natural to you after practicing. Whether you practice as a psychologist, a social worker, or a counselor, like, it takes a while to make perfect sense of this, but after you start working in the agency, you're like, oh yeah, we don't work with alcoholism recovery. We're going to send them here. Or we're going to keep their information confidential so nobody else gets to see it, and we're going to follow up and make sure they made it there. Right now, it looks like overwhelming, I'm sure, but it's like, no, you'll be able to do this. It's just takes like a little bit of practice. Usually in our field, we have your senior year, you do what's called field practicum, and you get to work at the actual agency, if it's downtown in Xenia in the courthouse, or in a domestic violence shelter, or in something else. Your supervisor will show you how to do everything that you need to do for that particular agency. Every agency you work for will have an assessment, and we always want to identify the client's strengths, like what power do they have that they can take care of themselves with. So looking for strengths, like it could be you're in your 20s or 30s, you're young enough to work and get a job, will help you find a job. Or you're 60 or 70, you qualify for Medicare and Medicaid. Let's get you connected with that. That's a strength. Or in your community, there's a local food pantry or a nurse's station that will see anybody. Let's get you connected over there. And that goes into assessing the resource capabilities. So we'll gather information and further understand the problems and issues and needs. We'll also begin framing the solutions. and developing goals, objectives, and plans of action. I bet you my computer is going to die. Any questions so far? Am I moving too fast? Okay. So I have another video that kind of breaks down this process and how a gentleman had assessed his community's challenges and problems. And I might get into that because we're halfway through the slides at this point on these two. Around the principles of promoting client strengths and also the social studies that showed, what is the client's boundaries of the problem, how do they define the problem. And I like the way that this map shows it, but furthermore, like sometimes you'll ask them their family history, and this is like them and then their mom and dad and their grandma and grandpa, and they had a history of mental illness in the family, so it's possible they have mental illness, and things of that nature. So that's something we'll make with the client. But I want to get into the video again, as I feel like sometimes videos speak better than all the words on the screen, if that makes sense. And this one is called Farming in the Hood. And we did this in Cincinnati also. This is why I like it so much, but this is actually Kansas City.
Phase 1. 3 years ago, we asked the question, can it be done? We posted a video with no plan, no money, just a seed in our pockets and a deep, burning vision. Can a band of pioneers move into the inner city, into one of the most blighted and crime-ridden zip codes in the U.S. and build a sustainable, thriving community from the inside out? Can we grow all of our own food? Can we grow 2,000 pounds of fish in the area the size of a living room? Can we generate all of our own energy? Can we create jobs from within the community? Can we make a difference in the next generation? Can we work together to see hope emerge from the urban rubble and hopelessness? Can it be done from the inside out? Can it be done by the outcast, the drug addict? Can it be done with those on parole? Can it be done by the children? So much has happened since then. Welcome to the concrete jungle. Inner city, Kansas City. Likens neighborhood. Ground zero. A place we call home. A place where hope thrives amidst hopelessness. Where 1 in 11 people will become victim of a violent crime. Where every block has at least one house full of bullet holes. We're looking around and we look down and we find a bullet that has the rifle rings and the dust, the glass dust from the solar panel. A place where arson has burned down hundreds of homes, including 3 houses at the same time on our block one day this spring. Fire number 1. Fire number 2 on the other side of it. A place where more than 50% of kids don't graduate in the first 4 years. A place where kids roam the streets at midnight and metal scrappers roll down the street with the neighbors' air conditioners in their shopping carts. A place where men beat each other over who gets first run of the garbage dumpster. Where homes are purchased for $1 because people are too afraid to buy. A forgotten land, too far gone for community development firms and politicians to get behind. Yet a land full of hope for those who have eyes to see it.
I've seen a number of guys that have come into contact with UFG that have turned their life around.
6 months with the urban farming guys has changed my life. I wouldn't be doing any of the stuff that I'm doing today without them.
Got my head butts up a couple times, got beat up, jumped, stabbed, various things.
I came here pretty messed up in the head and with nothing. And by the time I left, I now have my own house, a good vacuum system for staying clean.
Like, I remember getting high and praying to God to get me up off of this stuff because it's destroying my life. I remember crying out to him and crying out. And then at the same time, I had to make the decisions.
I ended up here because I was running around city being stupid and ended up getting booted out of my aunt's house and started living on the street.
And it's like UFG introduces love to a lot of people that haven't felt it and haven't seen it, to a community. in a hole.
In the last 3 years, mountains have moved. We have seen urban lots transformed into beautiful community gardens. Over 20 lots so far. And in the last year, we just purchased 18 more. Vacant lots that were completely destroyed are now becoming thriving centers of community and growth. Community coming together. Hope beginning to rise. Next, we're creating our own energy. Last month, the electricity bill for our base was $3. Then, we attached gutters to the solar panels and built a massive rain catchment system to harvest over 45,000 gallons of clean rainwater each year to irrigate the community gardens. Our internship is rapidly expanding, and just as we were running out of space, 2 months ago, someone offered to sell us the house across the street for $1. So after spending one of our last few dollars, another person called and gave us $25,000 to begin to fix it up and expand our programs. And we got to work. This house is flying together. This summer, not having any idea this would all fall in place, we picked up the acre of land behind the house for pennies and began to get it ready for some serious urban agriculture. We're gearing up to install this 150-foot-long greenhouse we just found for 10% of its value. We believe that a sustainable community needs to have its own thriving economy, and this is what we're doing about it. We're raising up future growers through our apprenticeship program. We are creating economic opportunities. We're now shipping baby fish all over the country. We're creating micro businesses for people to run. Tyrone, who runs our worm farm and is right here from Lycans neighborhood, is getting ready to launch our latest product, Worm Castings, nature's best soil conditioner. And when we're not hard at work teaching hands-on entrepreneurial skills in the neighborhood, our team is gradually learning all kinds of skilled trades from sheetrock to carpentry and plumbing as we renovate 2 houses that we purchased this year for under $1,500.
I mean, to chopping wood, to construction, to building, teaching us plumbing on houses. It's a wonderful thing, and I just see them all doing that at once, man, and just helping everybody out.
And to top this off, the crime stats keep going down. 62 less violent crimes this year in our 5-block radius, and a total of 18% drop since we began. And lastly, our after-school art program for the kids in Lycans neighborhood is still going strong. Not only can it be done, but it's being done by the very hand of those who used to destroy it. Our greatest partners in this work are right from the block. To turn this whole thing on its head, our team now has more good being done by ex-convicts and drug addicts than what we could have ever done alone. The very people who used to destroy it are now the ones building it up. This year, 2 of the most notorious copper thieves in the neighborhood turned their lives around and joined the work. Ironically, they are now working to put all the electrical wires back into our buildings.
Before coming to UFG, one of my biggest, we used to call them hustles, one of my biggest things for income was actually breaking into vacant houses and taking out the electrical wiring because copper's very lucrative at the scrap yards.
6 months ago, if you were to have described me to people, the most appropriate way to describe me would have been the most notorious metal scrapper on the block. There's many houses right now that are there because of me.
One of UFG's associates is remodeling a house that me and my buddy stripped of all the all of the wiring, the tubs. We destroyed it. And he's been giving us an opportunity to go back in and help revitalize it and bring it back.
Can it be done? The answer is yes. It's always been yes. Yes, because it's the very heart of God. Life will emerge right out of the cracks in the asphalt if you let it. These last 3 years have been the most beautiful, painful, wild, and redemptive years we've ever experienced. We got in way over our heads and we'll never go back. But the story has just begun. We are now entering phase 2. We are raising the stakes with these 2 impossible questions going forward. Question number 1. Can we empower others to grow $1 million in annual produce in Lycans and the surrounding 4 neighborhoods by 2020 and begin to build neighborhood economy and healthy food access? And question number 2, can we change the trajectory of at least 200 youth from Lycans neighborhood? We believe a sustainable community has the power to grab a hold of the imagination of the next generation and propel them forward into their destiny. Check this out. This spring, we made a ridiculous offer on a warehouse down the street for less than $30,000, and we got it. We own this 20,000 square foot building debt-free, and we're going to build a dream. This summer, 20 architects in Kansas City came together pro bono to help us design this dream. The dream for the next generation. Create Space. Create Space is a place that brings the community together to learn, to make, to grow. It's a place where there's nothing you can't make. A 24/7 hub of invention, inspiration, incubation, and mentorship. It's the laboratory that we never had growing up. Everything from robotics to welding, aquaponic gardening, woodworking to electronics, Photoshop to music, sewing to artwork, and a future commercial kitchen in the entire backside to help incubate locally grown value-added food businesses. Tools for absolutely everything, nightly classes on everything from entrepreneurship to market farming, from welding certification to beekeeping, a place where any skill can be learned hands-on. But here's the magic. Create Space brings together many genius. Makerspaces all over the world are drawing talent and skills out of the woodwork. Many geniuses whom given the tools, the sky is the limit. There are hundreds of people in your city who don't have $500,000 to spend on tools, but they gladly spend $50 a month to be a part of a makerspace that does. A financially self-sustaining makerspace buzzing with multiple disciplines. Bam! We have just multiplied our mentorship pool for the youth of Lycans neighborhood. We scholarship 200 kids from Lycans and expand our programs, and I promise you there will be kids coming out of Lycans with super skills and mentors they desperately need. This is what we're already doing on a small scale. We're just about to blow it out of the water. Right now, we're asking for your help to get the word out. Several donors have already come together and pledged to donate $31,000 in matching funds to kick this off. If we can raise $31,000 this month, every donation will be doubled. Every $10 counts. To launch Create Space, we need to raise $200,000 to be fully sustainable and operational. We'll seek an additional $200,000 in funds or equipment over time to fully take advantage of the space. In true to style, we'll squeeze $1 out of every dime. With your help, we can bring this dream into reality. All donations are tax deductible under the Urban Farming Guys nonprofit 501c3 charitable status. Help us bring on phase 3, which is a sustainable, self-reliant, economically empowered neighborhood with indigenous leaders taking charge and leading the way.
It's a lot that comes with the homeless life. A lot of stuff you want, sleeping in bancos, stuff like that. Not making it to the homeless shelters on time, so you gotta sleep outside in the snow sometimes. Lost my dad at 16. Went to prison at 17. The first place I came when I wanted to get clean was here. First place I thought of when I wanted to stop doing all of that was the Urban Farming Guys. I mean, they offered me a place to stay that was clean. They worked out a contract with me to get me on the right path and get me walking. And I think that is what I owe my current sobriety to.
They really show you a lot of love. The Urban Farming Guys have helped me on my journey by actually sitting me down and talking to me.
My name is Chaya Kolawali, and I'm a master's student in anthropology.
My name is Simon New. I'm from New York City, and I came here because I want to learn about aquaponics.
My name is Stanley Gudeni Bebe. I plan to take the technologies with me to Zimbabwe.
I learned that you don't need $1 million or even $1,000 to make a difference in the neighborhood. I think Urban Farming Guys is awesome at taking what they have and just making a whole lot with it.
My name is Warren Hillsboss. I'm from Fairmont, West Virginia, and I'm a law student interested in sustainable development and holistic approaches to developing communities and entrepreneurship.
This is a place, one of the best places to go to learn.
UFG, man, is touching the youth. It's hitting the core issues of life in general, all different walks of life, man.
I have to say that this is like a little beacon of light amongst the city of darkness.
Life, that's what's here. It's growing life constantly. And not just life in plants, but life in humans, life in people. Farming just period, but it's just in the hood.
So that's one community approach that these social workers took that's a little bit unique and different. Yeah, actually Detroit is one of the biggest hubs of urban farming in all of the United States. And I don't know if you've ever, what part of Detroit did you say you were in again? Okay. By 8 Mile at all, or like?
Yeah.
There's a ton of stuff that's in Detroit. It's unbelievable. There's how many vacant houses do you see around there?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, not by not where I live.
Mm-hmm.
It's like kind of like more. I see them more on the east side or like downtown.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot.
Yeah, like this one is
But
a
it seems
good.
like it's getting better.
Right. I feel like they started this about 10 or 12 years ago. This one's Motown to Growtown, Detroit's urban farming revolution. There's also, I don't know if this is the same video, it could be. The Earthwise, Detroit's urban farming revolution, those could be the same. They've got urban beekeepers transforming the city's vacant lots. There's a ton that I watched last year. We were kind of picking cities that everybody was from. Cincinnati has quite a few that we had done. It's crazy because I didn't even know this was going on in Cincinnati until I got involved with it. So it kind of goes along the empowerment and, finding ways to promote their strengths and challenges. So any questions on that so far or any of the assignments? Does it make sense or is it like too much information? I know it can be a lot.
No, it's not. But this stuff is interesting.
Right, yeah, I know. It's kind of bringing psychology into the real world instead of like, I know some psychologists do it, but I always felt like when I was a psychology major, I'd sit in an office and listen to hear people's problems.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's, getting involved in them and doing stuff. So that's all I've got though.
Okay.
Unless if you had anything else.
All right.
Cool. See ya Friday or Monday again.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
See ya. Hello. Yes, this is he.
Hey, Jonathan, it's Zachary from Holston. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Just got back from vacation and I saw that there were some email exchanges between you and my coworker, Angela. So I'm just playing catch up on what's going on in the claim files that I was missing while I was away.
Okay.
How is treatment going?
So far, so good. I think that was the email I had sent is kind of that the physical therapy, maybe it was the MRI, they wanted to know about payment. So maybe that was the email that had come up and she said, usually it comes at the end and I could ask them to postpone it. And I'm seeing the chiropractor once a week. I'm going to try to get in with the physical therapist, but I'm waiting for more HSA money to come onto my card.
Okay. Yeah, that's one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about. I apologize for the lack of thoroughness in Angela's answers. I know that working my files and hers last week probably was a little hectic for her, so I'm not gonna,